Giddy up. What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and welcome to the channel. Today we're celebrating y'all's help with getting me this right here. It's dirty because the kids were playing with it. If y'all don't have kids and you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. But 100,000 subs with the Crypto Cowboy today. And we're going to do an AMA. Don't worry, no alcohol in here. See that? But we need the get up. So, real quick, thanks everybody for stopping by. Thanks for helping me get 100,000 subscribers. And before we get into it, we do have a sponsor that we do need to play today. I did not get to all the videos prepped that I normally do. And so because of that, this is a live stream. We are already almost at 130,000 subscribers. So of course, that's going to be, a little bit weird that we're doing the 100K, AMA now, but it is what it is. Let me roll that ad because we got paid for it already, so you got to watch it. No! I don't know why it did that. That's not the right thing at all. Where to put it on? Sponsor is CDK Deals. To get great deals on Windows 10 Pro keys, check out the links in the description. To activate, it's as simple as going to cdkdeals.com using the link in the description and then searching for Windows 10 Pro. From here, you just need to click Buy Now. Then you can sign up for a quick and easy account. Don't forget to type in your promo code, which is SOT20, and click Submit Order. From here, you can pay with FastPay, PayPal, credit card, etc. Once you have completed your purchase, head on over to the User Center. Once processing is complete, you will be able to get your key to activate Windows. Your key will be located in your account under My Purchased Orders. You will click View Keys and Codes, click Get the Key, and then you will copy the code. Next, head on over to Windows, search in Cortana for activation settings. Click on Change Product Key and use Ctrl-V to paste the code into the box. Click Next, then click Activate, and your copy of Windows will be activated. No more pesky watermark. To get 20% off your Windows 10 Pro purchase, don't forget to check out the affiliate link down in the description and use promo code SOT20 when signing up. And we're back. So sorry for the technical difficulties. I still don't know how to use the Stream Deck. Would you guess that I'm new to YouTube? All right, we're taking that off. Where's my Rangers cap? I don't even know. I don't know where my Rangers cap went. Oh, there it is. All right, so today the way this goes, we're going to do an AMA. We're going to do it for at least 40 minutes. The top questions will either be answered in order they come in donations, because I feel like that's fair, which is the little donate button or whatever. I want to make sure that, if you're contributing to the channel, that I offer something back in return. If we don't get to all the questions, well, just understand that we have a time limit, and that's kind of the way it goes. Now, lastly on that, we will be going through questions that people have in chat in order with people that are members. So if you are a channel member, then we will answer that. We are going to ignore probably any questions surrounding, what do you think of X coin? Primarily because I like to do more research on it, and we aren't doing the Google Crypto for You series at this time. This is an AMA just regarding general stuff. So let's get into it. First question comes from Gamer Bargains. Are you going to start a Chia pool or a Chia pool? Sorry, I keep saying Chai. So as far as Chia goes, here's the deal. We're supposed to have pool software, or we're supposed to on Monday. That got pushed back, and that is pretty much up in the air. Now, I do know that we have quite a few different, YouTube personalities that are talking about creating pools. I've talked about creating pools. I've done pools before. And now when I did pools before, this is like 2016 to 2018, somewhere around there, we only had about 30,000 subscribers, and therefore it was very hard to get a pool running. Also, We did end up having a couple good ones, but then you run into the pains of running a pool for smaller, cap coins. And the problem with that is that you can run into running pools for scams. For example, we ran a pool for Sumo Coin, which ended up now being Ryo, thanks to, of course, Fierce UK or Fire Ice UK, who develops, XMR rig. He was one of the partners, figured it out, kind of took it over, and then made it legitimate, but it suffered a lot. So we even fall into those issues as well, where you can do things without the goodness of your heart, trying to support the community and move forward, but you can be led astray a lot. And this is something actually that I've had conversations with recently when people keep tweeting at me to talk about a certain coin or a certain token. SafeMoon's a great example. I'm not comfortable with, pumping up SafeMoon, primarily because the way it functions is so close to a pyramid scheme that as far as SEC going and the rules going on with that, you could get yourself in a lot of trouble if you're a public figure and you promote it. If you guys haven't been in crypto for a long time, you may not know about BitConnect, but I assume you probably should at this point. But at that point, it did throw, Trayvon James, who I'm not certain was doing anything maliciously other than, trying to make money for himself. But he wasn't really on top of the game when paying attention to the legality of things, the way it was functioning, and making sure you fully vet things before you talk about them. It's a difficult position to be in. So because Chia is so new, and because Chia has a very high luck probability thing, and I'm not certain as to the future of that and what their plans are with the 21 million coins that have not been released to the network. I'm not certain that it's fully vetted enough for me to put behind more than tutorials. Meaning I'm not sure that I would be comfortable with spinning up a pool without some sort of proven background for Chia that has lasted beyond a certain amount of time where I feel comfortable. Whatever that time frame may be, I don't know, because I don't know how bumpy of a ride it's going to be. It's just one of those things where you need to be cautious because, look, let's just be honest, I don't want to be put in jail. And I want to make sure also that I'm not leading anybody astray. That's why I typically am very cautious. If you hear me talking in videos about different projects, I try to lean heavy on the tech side and kind of talking about what that does, and then giving you guys tutorials and how to do things that you may need to know how to do, and not necessarily telling you, go buy Dogecoin. Even huge public figures like John McAfee are suffering from just pumping Dogecoin. It should be interesting to see what happens with Elon. I'm kind of curious, 3, 4, 5 years down the line from now, when people go ahead and decide to look at this, with, that 2020 perspective, looking back on it, it should be kind of interesting. So that's kind of my thoughts on Chia. I am like this. Let's just wait. I will show you guys how to do everything. We will be talking about the pools, but as far as me putting support behind it, yes, I want to build a pool. I am talking to people about it, but as far as right now, I'm not sure how deep I want to dive into it. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Accurate Addicted said, thank you for providing valuable insight and running a well-rounded channel with a lot of methodical analysis and coverage. I hope your channel keeps growing fast. Bless you. And of course, see you next Tuesday. You got me there. Using my own tricks on me. Thank you for the donation, my man. Canada. Is $20 Canadian more than $20 US? How much Bitcoin is that? I don't know. All right. So the next question that I see is, let's see. So, hi, I'm 16 and I make $30K from eBay. Should I invest into a mining rig? Well, if you're on eBay right now and you're really good at flipping GPUs, you should be trying to get GPUs to flip on eBay because that's your expertise. So everybody plays a part in all of this, and however anybody feels about scalpers, here's the deal. If there's a demand and you can profit off of it, there's nothing wrong with that, in my humble opinion. Should scalpers be buying so much stuff that they're out buying the actual demand of the product? No, but the argument there would be that there is still a demand for it because the price is still being driven up. And that's in relation to the PS5 stuff. What I think like your position would be if you have an established eBay account is to basically go out and hunt down graphics card deals that you can slightly mark up and make a profit off of, seeing that you're already skilled at that. Now, because of your age, etc., you also need to talk to your parents. You also, with that money that you just earned, need to make sure you're very, very careful and you are talking to CPAs, tax attorneys, etc. Get yourself a mentor. All right. As far as building mining rigs right now, here's what the Eath core devs say. And this is if you're mining Ethereum. You need to have ROI by the end of December. So at this point, what you should be doing is calculating how much you should be paying for a GPU based on at least that, in my humble opinion. I'm a little bit more safe than even that. The last GPU I bought was actually yesterday. It was a 3080 for $1,099, which will ROI in 45 to 55 days at the current difficulty of Ethereum and price of Ethereum. And that should get me in, sneak me in before EIP 1559, which is still one of those variables that we are not certain as how it's going to affect, of course, your profitability for mining. Once that's rolled in and we have a better idea on how that affects profitability for mining, then I will adjust out what I'm willing to pay for a GPU as it comes. And I'll let you guys know as well with a video when we get there. All right, Blunted, welcome to live streams. Welcome to live streams, Thanatos. Thanks, guys, for joining as a channel membership. All right. Let's see. How much is a block worth? I don't know what so a block is worth whatever the fees accumulated along with the block reward are on any given network. So Bitcoin, whatever. Currently, for example, Ethereum is a 2-block reward plus whatever the fees that are coming into it, depending on what people are willing to pay to be at the front of the line, which is a lot and becoming more with the implementation of MEV, which is miner extracted value. Used to be known as maximal extracted value until the Eath core devs needed to pin something on miners. That is my opinion. That has no foundation, and it is also sort of a joke, but you guys in the know are in the know, and you know why I made that joke. Okie doke. Let's get on through this. NetGo Gary asks how you started the phrase "see you next Tuesday." Oh, that's a fun one. So "see you next Tuesday" is a couple things. First of all, I had no idea what it meant growing up, but my dad would say it. Here's the thing that I didn't know, and I found out before he found out, which is even funnier, is that, of course, it stands for CUNT. I learned that from a metal band called See You Next Tuesday. And I didn't tell him until I was about 28 years old because I thought it was hilarious when he would tell people "see you next Tuesday," and I would just laugh and watch him do it. So, and watch their faces in response. So that's kind of where that came from. And now I was like, hey, it's a way to, you know, say something funny, kind of underground, a little punk rock on the YouTubes without getting flagged for cursing. So there you go. I always like playing with those dad jokes. You know what I mean? So Jinx says, if you could only mine one card, which one would it be and why? 5700 XT. It holds a special place in my heart, and it does do well at both Raven as well as Ethereum. And it is modifiable still, meaning I'm allowed to change the BIOS and do whatever I want to it. And I don't like that the 3000 series and 6000 series cards of the latest generations from both AMD and NVIDIA have blocked a lot of my ability to do anything beyond basic overclocking. That really frustrates me, and I don't like the path that a lot of these GPU manufacturers and, of course, vendors, etc., are taking as far as all of this goes. I lean way to the extreme of right to repair, including being able to write my own BIOS software, etc., at my will without the permission of the company being needed to do so. So that is why the last card that really allows that is the 5700 XT. Even the 5600s The second kind of stage or release of the 5600 started putting blocks on that, by the way, as well. So it really depends on where that release date is. All the 5700s, to my knowledge, still allow that. So there you go. Matt asked, do you think it's worth staking ETH2 to make 10% APY? Worried about price to performance of ETH2 versus ETH if I do this. So are you talking about actually staking the 32 ETH? Or are you talking about using something like Blockfy or Crypto.com's offering, etc., where they're saying put it in, so on? I guess what we can say there is 32 ETH is a pretty hefty investment into Ethereum as a network, so you'd really have to believe in Ethereum. I'm going to leave that up to you. As far as using something like BlockFi, etc., big problems there is centralization. So obviously, with anything where you're earning some kind of recurring APY, so on, you are benefited by putting more into whatever that is, right? So the more you have, the more you make. The problem is the more you have in a centralized system like that, the more you have to lose. So you're taking a much larger risk than, like, say, staking ETH when it goes to the beacon chain and you have control of the private keys, etc. What you've done is you've given your private keys to a company to handle that for you. And if that company goes defunct, or if something goes wrong and they loan it out to a bad actor, something along those lines, and you don't get it out, you're not going to get it out. And then that's the risk you take. The more decentralized forms that you can utilize in relation to that sort of thing, the better. That being said, like I said, 32 ETH is pretty hefty of an investment. So there you go. Pro Bo says, do miners set up as its own business entity, or do you claim mining stuff under personal taxes or none at all? So it depends on where you live. That'll be a geographical thing. In the US, mining is considered an income, and so that will be taxed at a higher rate. It is taxed as income on the day you mined it, so it's better to at least try to get out a payout per day. And that way you are locking in that income tax at that point. And like I said, that's the US, and you will need to talk to your tax attorney. Any price above that after it's mined that's gone up is technically capital gains. Once again, talk to your tax attorney, but you have short-term and long-term capital gains. Long-term will be taxed at a lower rate, as well as if you're worried about the income stuff and everything like that, at a certain level, you want to consider going from a hobbyist miner or that sort of thing where you're doing under personal taxes into making it its own LLC or limited liability corporation. And at that point, you can, you'll want to get a corporate structure lawyer. You'll want to basically understand how that all functions, how you can pull from it, and what you're allowed to do with it, etc., to basically reduce that income tax. Once again, you need to go talk to the professionals for this. This is just what I've learned from what I have been told by the professionals that I talk to help with mine, or pay. I pay them. They don't help me for free. I pay them. So you'll have to pay them. There you go. All right, so let's move on from there. Okay, Toombs, thanks for joining, good sir. All righty, so what are you going to mine after ETH is used in staking? So it'll be whatever is most profitable, but with a big caveat of whatever is easy to exchange as well. If you guys haven't watched the video on I mined Ethereum or Classic for 48 hours, you should go watch that one. You'll start to get an idea of like what miners are thinking, why it can be kind of difficult and cumbersome to mine something like, even with the support of Ethereum Classic, their confirmations taking so long to get to the wallet that you really don't have a good way of also tracking, once again, taxes. So let me give you an idea. The way most of the applications work to track income for taxes is that it pulls from a wallet address. So it pulls it when the mining pool pays out to the wallet. Well, if you're waiting on a whole bunch of confirmations, you aren't going to get the exact price at the exact same time, which is going to make it harder for you to file, which is a problem. So at that point, you're really going to want to mine to a direct wallet. Problem being there is if you're trying to basically move around anything to cover expenses like power or operating costs, other operating costs, maybe rent, whatever it may be, then you're going to have a hard time transferring it, getting the exact amount of money and getting it out. So there is a little bit to be said for ease of liquidity, right? Not liquidity in the terms, which is always getting pretty difficult to discuss now, but not liquidity in terms of something like MetaMask or PancakeSwap, like liquidity, being able to liquidate, you know, and get that crypto out into a form that you can pay operating costs for. And that is all, once again, going to be determined by the size of your farm, etc. So if, like, let's say, even if EIP 1559 releases and profits go down to 30% or down 30%, and it costs, and it makes me just as much or even a little less than something like, say, Ravencoin, it's still probably going to be easier for me to mine probably Ethereum, at least with an amount that I want to use to liquidate to pay for operating costs, than it would be for me to just mine Ravencoin. So there's kind of a lot of, there's a ton of different strategies you can take. You're going to need to do your own research. I'm talking through these things so you guys can start thinking about it though, right? So you can be like, oh, I didn't think of that. Let me rethink how I want to do that, right? So for example, I'll mine like 30% to a wallet that goes directly to an exchange that I can then take out and pay the power costs for. And then that way I can take that power cost, write that off or whatever, depending on, you know, once again, talk to a tax attorney, blah, 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 and they can help you figure that out and what's best for you. So there you go. All right. So Prony said, thanks for the $10, Prony. Congrats on the 100K. You've been a huge help. Can't thank you enough. Can't thank you guys enough for watching. It's been amazing. So definitely keep it up. I hope you guys enjoy all the content. I try to do the best I can. And if you guys can share it out as much as possible too. We've been in like a weird situation with YouTube where it's been very rocky, to say the least. It's a very weird place to be in. You know, I took the risk to go full-time YouTube so I could put everything into it that I could and give you guys the most amount of information that I could. And I really am enjoying it. It is paying off. Don't get me wrong. It's very bumpy. So it's very inconsistent to where, like, for example, 2 days ago, we post a video and we get 33,000 views. Yesterday, we post a video and we get 5,000 views. Not really like anymore. I would actually argue that yesterday's video was more valuable content from the perspective of actually like being a miner and needing to like understand these things and preparing yourself for the future than the video that was previous to that. It's just the way the algorithm works, and sometimes YouTube doesn't even push it. So the best thing you can do is go ahead and hit the notification bells for me and hit the share buttons for me, especially if you find a piece of content exceptionally helpful. So there you go. March of the Titan book says, I just invested 55K in 3090s to mine with. Thanks. Wow. Good luck, my man. I have no idea how many 3090s you got, what your ROI is, but I wish you all the best of luck, of course, and get to trucking. Luckily, you have a lot of options to also mine with the 3090s that you should keep in mind if and when ETH profitability goes down. So there you go. Savage Mine, what's up, my man? Welcome. All right. 4 GB or 8 GB cards. 8 GB cards primarily because that is what's going to fit the entire DAG for Ethereum, which is currently most profitable, and other DAGs will be growing, right? So Ravencoin will grow past 4 GB, and in that case, your 8 GB is going to mine longer on Ravencoin. So, you know, the more VRAM, in theory, the better. You know, there is probably like a sweet spot there, right? I'd say 8 GB is probably a sweet spot because it's pretty certain ETH's not going to go beyond that before it's gone proof of stake. And you got quite a while before Ravencoin caps that or goes beyond that. So There you go. Savage mind, proof of work is better than proof of stake. Yeah, we need to talk about that though. I do want to sit down with you. We should have a discussion, a more in-depth discussion on that for sure, dude. And thanks for the $20. Because I have some thoughts that I think that we're on the same page, but I think that as far as our Twitter conversation goes, and we're going to avoid it, I think right now, just because we're live, and I probably would rather have you on either like we should do a video, a collab or something like that, and actually sit down and talk about it to where we can get, communicate better. There you go. All right. Brainy Beaver, welcome to the club. One vid gets 800 views and next gets 8K. Boom. Yeah, it's weird, right? It is what it is, though. It is what it is. Sometimes it isn't. All right, NetGo Gary, how can you determine mining income for pre-mine? You mean mining, like mining before it's listed on an exchange? You can't. I mean, that's the short of it. You can't. You're hedge mining. You're trying your luck. I did it a lot. You know, I did it. Sometimes it failed. BTCZ would be one where I failed pretty hard on that. I had some buddies that failed really hard on Safe Coin, which, by the way, anything with safe and moon in the name, safe or moon, or safe and moon, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Hey, Ben, what's going on, my man? How'd he get so beautiful? Off them blood thinner, getting in the gym. Plus the Texas Rangers cap. But check this cowboy hat out. Oh, got me this one. George Strait. Legit. George Strait's cowboy hat. Well, you know, George Strait's name on it in a line. Don't worry about it. All right. So I'm trying to get to some questions here. Mr. Moonsilver, what kind of tech are you? So, okay. That name came from a few things. First of all, I have grown up. My dad was a mechanic, like an actual car mechanic, and then he was a CIO during like the internet boom. And so what he did was basically he helped develop the auto parts cataloging system, ran the teams that now like Amazon uses, for example. Actually, pretty much everybody uses the cataloging system that he helped build. So there's that. And then on top of that, I was a motorcycle mechanic, which is known as a technician. And then from there, I did that for a few years. And then my bulk of my career was in information technology. Specifically, in the beginning was regression testing. And then I moved into cloud solutions. All right. I gotta wet my whistle. What do I think about mining ETH directly to Blockfy? I don't do it. The time to pull out from Blockfy is too long. It's risky. If anybody's like, don't pull out, wait longer, you should just pull out. Just saying. Do I often change my wallet, or do you have a favorite one? Yeah, so I bounce around depending on, like I've talked about this in ETH revenue strategies. You can look that up on the channel where I talk a little bit more in depth about that. Depends on what I'm trying to do with the Ethereum, right? So really, when like Uniswap really was taking off, I was doing a lot of swapping, token swapping, adding liquidity, that sort of thing. So mining like directly to a MetaMask wallet, so I didn't have to pay the fees to move it to MetaMask, was beneficial. And then in the case of wanting to pay power, I would always mine a little bit to make sure I was able to cover power costs to an exchange, whether that be Coinbase, crypto.com, etc. And then you really want to, at that point, look what is acceptable in your geographical area, what works best in your situation, and what has the lowest fees. All right. And then, of course, there is the mine and hold pattern where you would mine to something like a hardware wallet or a paper wallet. Strider says, any advice for people who are new to crypto? Yeah, be very careful right now. Be very careful. Basically, don't believe anything anybody tells you. Do your own research and be very careful. Right now, we are at the point where everything is pretty much pumping, so everybody looks like a genius. The guy telling you to buy Doge is a genius. The guy telling you to buy SafeMoon is a genius. The guy telling you to buy anything on the market appears to be a genius, as we are in a bull run, which means that everything is going up. The problem with that is that it makes it very hard to sift through what is junk and what is not junk. My best advice would be, if you are new to crypto, to A, if you want to generate revenue, start researching mining and figuring that out, and B, stick to the top cryptos. In my humble opinion, there's pretty much 3 that I would recommend right off the bat. One being a little bit more difficult to get into, but of course Bitcoin, because you're going to be a little safer there. Ethereum, because you're going to be a little safer there. And then Monero. But if we get into Monero, you are going to have a little bit more difficulty as far as the learning curve for getting into Monero. And that's kind of where I would stick. Proven coins like that, until you kind of get your feet wet and you learn what the principles of crypto are and what to watch out for when you're looking at any specific project. Sam asks, what do you think about Helium? I still don't know, because I haven't got my HNT miner. So I don't know. It seems cool. Voskcoin's pimping it hardcore. He says he's making all the money, but I assume it's like Voskcoin with everything else. He'll make all the money off the one they sent him for free before any of the rest of us can get our hands on it. So it's good to be Voskcoin, but you know, Son of a Tech doesn't get that, and I can't tell you guys. You know, like when I'm giving you guys, usually I'm trying to put out whatever is actionable for you at that time. I.e., when I talk about these old ASIC miners that you were able to buy, yes, they were hard to get to. Some of them went offline, but at least at the time when I purchased them, you could still buy a few, and the average person get their hands on it with the protection of Amazon. Outside of that, there are a ton of crypto mining scam websites as well, which makes it very difficult to navigate. There is a lot of difficulty in navigating the space, even in mining, on where you purchase hardware, how you get a hold of it, even to the point to where I can't really give you guys a great direct path to purchasing anything. For example, I talked about buying a 3080 for $1,099. Great price right now. ROI is fantastic. That being said, the only way I found out was a user on Twitter DM'd me and said, hey, if you call B&H right now, they have some in stock and you can order it over the phone. So yeah, I got a little bit of, you know, I guess clout help, you know, for being Son of a Tech. Somebody let me know. But without that, I wouldn't have bought a GPU for another year. I don't even know at this point. That's the first one I've bought in a couple months. So it's not easy to navigate all that stuff. Alrighty, PYH. I can't pronounce that, dude. I have a mining power 470 mega hash a second in Eath. You think you could get more than 70, 80 per day mining at 2 miners? So you're mining at 2 miners. So, okay. We have to go. We're going to be talking about this tomorrow in tomorrow's video. So I definitely highly recommend coming back to the channel for it. I'll give you guys a lot more insight into that. But I can tell you that I have been filing 2020 taxes, which means that I have been seeing what the revenue was for Ethereum in 2020 versus what that actual worth of that amount of Ethereum is now. Okay. And here's kind of the weird thing that doesn't click with a lot of people, it's not really necessarily about how much you're making in fiat that day, except for when you're filing taxes, by the way. But talk to your tax attorney on that. Outside of that, though, it's really about how much ETH you're mining. Okay? So track with me. Just because I was only making, like, let's say, I think it was like $200 a day, and let me take a month. That would have been November, somewhere around there, making about $200 a day, 0.5 ETH a day, though. Okay. Well, because I didn't sell that 0.5 ETH today, it's worth a lot more than $222. So when you ask me, how can I make more money on my mining right now? It's more like, how long can you hold that and push that off and make more later, right? So there's the holding, but there's also other stuff you can do. We've talked about this though earlier in the video. You got options like Blockfy, you got options like crypto.com, you got options like staking, you got options like swapping and adding liquidity. If you're trying to accelerate that, start learning these other aspects of cryptocurrency and really dig your heels in and do some research. You can increase that. But what you're trying to do is increase the amount of Ethereum or the amount of crypto you are accumulating, not trying to increase the amount of fiat you are accumulating. Okie doke. Hey, what's up, Sniper? Good to see you, my man. Watching since 17, if you need a video editor to let you know. I know, man. I do. But how hard are you willing to work and for how little? That's always the question, my man. That's always the question. Come on. Come on. All right. Let's see. Where can I sell Chia and be safe for me to get the money to your pocket? That's a good question. I don't have a recommended exchange for that. Use things like CoinMarketCap, try to figure out what's good in your geographical location or in a geographical location that you have easy access to. And I really don't want to go over this again, but figure it out. I believe in you. I believe you can fly. I believe you can touch the sky. Dream about it every night and day. Just spread your wings and fly away. Acer asks, forgot to tag you. What do you think of mining on Easel? I don't have any current opinions on that. I've not done enough research. At this time, I will try to add it to my list for you. This is going to be the same for a majority of you guys asking about coins and so on. If I haven't made a video on it, I probably have not done enough research to give a valid opinion on it. That's the way this channel rolls. I'm not going to pretend with you guys on any of that stuff. Just, it is what it is. There's no way to research them all, though. Like, I can't keep up with them as fast as they come out. Some of them, I just let them roll off and don't even pay attention to them. Where's your next part for the Chia mining rig? It should be coming soon. I have the 10 gig cards over here, actually. So we got these in. I guess we can do an impromptu unboxing if I can find something to open this with. Think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can fly. All right. Here we go. So we have some PowerEdge R720s. What we should have here is, well, that's going to be hard to get into. You know, I always leave my knife outside when I need it. And I always leave it inside if I need it outside. All right. So, these are 10 gig cards, and these will be getting plopped into basically improved network speed to copy over the network to network attached storage after plotting on an NVMe drive. We are also working on a build to use RAM disks to reduce the read and write wear on the NVMe drives, but that will also be another video. So we are getting there. It took a long time to get these, so keep that in mind. Okie doke. Is the YouTube play button Bluetooth? No, I didn't do anything cool like that. I am happy to have it. It is covered in chocolate. Kids really liked it. What can I say? How many terabytes do I have picked up? Currently, we are only at like 68, something like that. Hey, Roberto. Thanks for the congrats. What are your recommendations on how to move coin off of MetaMask with gas fees being insane at the moment? You just don't do it. HODL. I mean, wait for it to be cheaper. All right. Tranquil says, do you think there will be more coins using Raven assets after the halving? Do you mean tokens? Raven still has a big issue with both development and scalability. And as much as I've always loved Raven, we have to keep that in mind. And I don't think a halving really solves that. Halving doesn't solve either one of those two things. All right. Read the new super chat above. I'm trying. Oh, you're a Voss editor and then quit? Man, you can't be bringing that drama up in her. No drama. All right. Truther says, where do you think all this crypto is going at the end when all the chains are mined and infrastructure is in place for the space? First of all, I don't think all the chains will ever be mined. I think there will always be new ones, kind of like the internet. So, like, you could take like Yahoo or Ask Jeeves or something like that as an example. There's always somebody else around the corner. So I don't think that that's really a worry. Now, as far as once all the coins have been mined, let's say for a capped coin like Bitcoin, because remember Ethereum, stuff like that, not capped, Doge, not capped. So that'll never happen there. Those are inflationary, right? But if we're talking about like Bitcoin, the miners will still be functioning because they will be earning transaction fees. And because the value of Bitcoin will be so high, those transaction fees will be relevant. Very relevant. So mining won't really end as far as Bitcoin goes. Hey, Bitcoin Tips, thanks for the congrats. Okie doke. When are we going to see some Son of a Tech merchandise? Well, there's some shirts down there, but they're from Teespring. I do want to spin up the Shopify store again, but merchandise is hard, man. So to really get merchandise rolling good, you really want to do a pretty hefty initial investment, choosing the sizes, understanding what the audience wants, and then trying to pick, good quality stuff. All that can be very time consuming and sometimes not really worth it. So, it is what it is. We are working on an NFT right now. Dane's been drawing it up. And I think the plan is that I'll be getting a tattoo live on stream of the NFT and then doing a fun thing with that. But that's not really merchandise. It's a little easier to roll out, blah, blah, blah. All right. Xkey asked, did I win any Chia plots? I have not won any Chia yet. As soon as I do, I will be bragging about it online because I will be excited. And that is the way it goes. Trendy World says, what do you think of buying an ASIC miner is good rather than buying a GPU? Hold on that question. Eric Smith, thanks for the $4.99. You rock, my man. I didn't see a question there, though. GPUs will always have the most versatility, meaning that you are able to resell them better. You have more algorithms to mine, meaning that their longevity is potentially longer. There would be an argument for ASIC miners for Bitcoin, but because they're similar as far as technology improving all the time, when the old miners get outpowered by the new miners, what it becomes is a brick and you can't do anything with it. So it's kind of a, you know, GPUs seem to be better of an investment, at least for a home miner, in my humble opinion. So there you go. All right. Dirt Grub asks, how do you personally go about selling your coins and transferring that to fiat into your bank account? You've been hearing bank accounts being closed and flagged fraudulent. Yeah, so that's always going to be an issue. Crypto.com does have a bank you can transfer in and out of. They have a debit card that you load up so you can pay your bills or do whatever. It's the easiest way to use. Affiliate links down below so you can check that out. It's the easiest way to do it and handle all of it, right? So just, yeah. ADF, did you keep all the ETH you mined since September of last year? So that is a good question. I sold most of it for Bitcoin, but not all of it. And it's still like that estimated value is still about the same. Obviously, ETH did turn, I guess, Bitcoin recently. So there is that. We'll have to see how it plays out when EIP 1559 hits. And I'm still trying to wait. I'm still curious on, I'm surprised, not surprised. I understand, I guess, but I think that there has not been enough emphasis on the issues with MEV. That's my personal opinion. How many plots am I farming with? I mean, I'm using 100 gigabyte plots. Right now, we have about 48 terabytes farming. Okie doke. Gerson asks, what do you think of Binance and Binance Pool? I don't really have opinions, man. It's a tool that I use, but it's not anything I'm like gung-ho about, if that makes sense. It's like asking me what I think about coin. Well, I don't know. I have more opinions probably on Coinbase in a negative way than I have negative opinions about Binance. It's like asking me about any other exchange. I'm not an exchange review guy, you know. That's kind of one of the things I don't really do either, other than call out when there's a real issue with anyone in particular. Did I stake ETH? No, I don't stake any ETH. Well, that also depends on your question. So I've been noticing there's a big issue with the way people are defining staking. There's a lot of different, like, do you mean like actually on the Beacon chain where we're doing ETH 2.0, or do you mean like Blockfy, right? So like technically I have like ETH and Blockfy. You guys have seen it. We've talked about it. Did Crypto.com add Chia? That's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out at some point. I did not see that. Oh, thanks for all the wishes and good vibes, guys. And then congrats on the 100K. Let's take it to the moon. Share the channel. We'll get it going. I've already talked a lot about what I think about Chia. At this point, it's one of those things where we're kind of just waiting to see what happens with it. We still have 21 million coins we do not know exactly what they're doing with. That'll be a big shift in public opinion once we figure out what they're doing with that. Until we know, we don't know. Hey Chaz, that's an interesting question. It hit it automatically. Is that because you said Biden and national security? How do you feel about Biden's ASICs, making ASICs illegal because of national security? I didn't hear about this. So I will try to look into that and then do a video on my opinion of it. But that is a super interesting topic. So Let me copy that out and add that to my things I need to research notepad, because that seems like it would be super important to research. Boom. Added to the list, my man. All right. Thoughts on unmindable Dogecoin? I really haven't looked into unmindable. I don't see a point in doing it when you could just mine to an exchange, Ethereum, and then trade for Dogecoin. I don't really... Unmindable doesn't make sense to me, because I feel like if you've been mining and trading for long enough, it doesn't seem like a tool that's needed. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't get the benefit of it. I don't understand the benefit of it. Maybe I need to do more research, and that would be on me. Do I live in the Canada or the US? I am US at the moment, Truther. Do you think NiceHash is safe these days? Man, no. You know, it's the same thing I've always said about NiceHash. If you want to use it, it's easy for you. You're not doing a farm. By all means, go for it. Just make sure you pull out the Bitcoin when they allow you to pull it out. Thanatos says, would you suggest sticking with Windows for a 6700 XT rig or using more power tool settings? Or is there a way to use Hive OS and keep the MPT settings? So, it will pull that now because it is written into the BIOS. So in Hive OS, for example, it will pull those MPT settings. That being said, because of the way, you don't need it in Hive. If I recall, I tested this, we talked about it. You can still turn the voltage down further. So the only benefit to using MPT, right, is that you get to write what the Windows registry reads as your bottom limit for core voltage. That's literally the only benefit for MPT and mining currently. So that being the case, it's not needed in Hive OS because you can turn it down further than that in Hive OS. And therefore, it's kind of a moot point. It's like you need it if you're mining on Windows. You don't need it if you're mining on Hive OS. Performance numbers on the same, it will be the same depending on how far you turn down that core voltage. All right. Whew. We're fading fast, guys. I think we're gonna do maybe a few more questions and then we're gonna wrap it up. I'm still a little ill, not like crazy ill, but still like just a little under the weather. So definitely gonna go sit down, probably play some Borderlands and drink some Gatorade or something. All right. Are you worried about BTC losing market share? No, not really. If it does, another one rises, right? So how would I put it? It depends on what your perspective on crypto is. And my perspective on crypto has always been shifting, you know. I think all in all, you know, with pretty much every economy going inflationary and having like a lot of issues, I think that even if it lost like market share to something else, you still have a better store of value than you do in like cash, for example. Will that stay true? I don't know. What kind of economic manipulation will the big boys do? I don't know. But as far as like competing, like let's say like Ethereum versus Bitcoin, I don't feel like that's really a competition. So I think that like I've always been of the mindset that like each crypto plays its certain given part. And then as far as talking about like its total supply, what its value in fiat currency is, it matters a lot less to me, I guess. I guess the question would be, would it bother me if Bitcoin was no longer the de facto standard? Like if we didn't measure, like would it bother me if we didn't measure Bitcoin or measure every other currency or cryptocurrency in relation to Satoshi or Sats, right? Satoshis. And I don't think it really would. It wouldn't really change my opinion much on cryptocurrency. So I don't think I would really worry too much. Richie Rich says, what do you think of Raven long term? Thanks for the awesome content. I've talked about this a lot. Raven has two problems, like we talked about earlier in this live stream, and that is their development, right? So the amount of projects being built on top of Ravencoin, which isn't very high, and then of course scalability, which technically hasn't been solved. So, and no real valid proposal, in my humble opinion, that solves scalability. So I have some worries there. Mr. Tweaky says, need a new more sips of the Heineken. Yeah, it's just the 0% alcohol. Yeah, but yeah, it could help. We were playing Cowboy today. James says, can I run a 3090 Strix with an AMD B450M? I mean, yeah, you can always do that. The things that you would want to be careful of course, is like the power coming through the rail and making sure you tune it properly. I mean, I guess there could potentially be issues if it overdrew what the board was capable of through the PCI slot, but as long as the 3090 remains, pulling at whatever the standards for the PCIe is, then you're good to go. Then if you're using a riser, that it doesn't matter. You're fine. Hoops says, hey bro, congrats on 100K. You won any Chia yet? Nope, have not won any yet. So there you go. What do I think about ADA? I don't really necessarily find it to be that appealing personally. I'm still working on my full rebuttal for that, I guess I should say. But it goes back to right now, everything's pumping, so it's going to go up. So if you tell me, oh, well, ADA went up this much in fiat, that means nothing to me. It's all dependent on what it's providing to the community and how it functions. And what services does it provide that's different from anything else? And it's not really different from anything else. There's other options out there. So I don't think it's anything necessarily revolutionary. And then commence all of the ADA tweets on Twitter later. That'll be fun. H-Boy says, what do you think of mining Firo? I've looked at it a few times. I'm working on a couple videos. I don't have anything out at this point. Viral says, Burst versus Chia. Why do you think it didn't take off? So Burst had security issues. A lot of security issues. It was called grinding. And basically the way Chia solved that, which is why Chia is a thing, is because it solved it with proof of time, basically preventing the ability of rewriting plots so much that, aka grinding, so that you could basically manipulate the network. So that's why Burst had a lot of issues. That's what Chia did or is doing to fix it. As simple as I can put it. Oops, I'm up to 48 terabytes. Helium mining, I'm still waiting on a miner. And am I dipping? I actually have the no tobacco, but the nic pouches right now. I quit vaping. So I quit smoking a long time ago. I quit vaping now. I've been using some of the pouches without the tobacco to essentially help, if that makes sense. And then we were doing the cowboy thing, so I felt like it was fitting to have something in your lip. So there you go. But you know, it's always constant self-improvement and finding ways to improve within the limitations of your abilities. And I'm a weak person when it comes to my vice for tobacco or nicotine in this case. So I'm working on it. We'll be getting there. Okie doke. I'm going to wrap it up, boys. Thanks, everybody, for your questions. It's 8:15 now. And I am going to be going. I would remind you guys, love each other, love one another, like I tell my kids all the time. And thanks, everybody, for all the support. It's been amazing. I never thought that I would be doing this, to be honest with you guys. I've been trying for like a decade, so it's pretty cool. I'll see you next Tuesday.